Well, here we go with the Legacy. The boat's getting ready to go for the start of the January season up in the Bering Sea of 2007. Welcome aboard, everybody.
New storm is zeroing in on the northwest. Good evening, I'm Dean Staley.
And I'm Meg Coyle. This latest storm will bring wind, rain, freezing temperatures, and snow west of the Cascade.
We have a high wind watch in effect for portions of western Washington, around the Admiralty Inlet, through portions of the East Strait, and also north of Seattle, Everett up towards towards Whidbey and Arlington. Sustained winds picking up tomorrow, 25 to 40 miles an hour, gusting 50 to 60 miles an hour potentially. Again, the stronger gusts mainly north of Seattle. This is going to come in with the cold front that you can see here on the satellite. That's just going to push the rain in initially west of the Cascades and kick in the wind right behind the front. But also behind the front, a very large pool of extremely cold air. This is going to begin to pour into the region as we get into tomorrow night and Wednesday morning.
We try to avoid these line storms that come from west to east across the Pacific. And the Gulf Stream is shifted, so we're getting these storms one after the other coming through the Straits of Juan Fuca. And for us, we could lose 2 or 3 days trying to buck that to get across the Dutch Harbor. So we're going to go up north of Vancouver Island, go up south of Cape St. James off Graham Island, and go up into the Gulf and down, versus what we normally do is to go south and try to get south of those storms like we did last year. We had a great passage, but we've had a weather shift this year. It's not going to work that way. It can be flat calm some days, and other days storm warnings, hurricane warnings. We've had days that we've actually gone backwards as opposed to making headway. But we want to avoid that at all costs. We've got one extra day built into our schedule to get us over there, and that's a weather day. Only because this year is unprecedented for bad weather.
I'll call them on the satellite phone and give an update, see what the forecast, the long range, 48-hour and weekly, week out, see what the lows are doing. Get that on the NOAA website. He's got a different, I'm using OSINs here, it's a little bit different. So we just compare the two and try to take the info. Path of least resistance headed north.
You know, you go with wave height, wind strength, you know. And
get on the right side of the storm and you can...
We've had a pretty good track record. In the last few years, I think we've only been caught a couple of times. And usually we can skirt out around one side or the other. And that's what we need to do, because we're going to be working both in the factory and on deck all the way across. With lots of
it's kind of like thread the needle sometimes.
And we'll see how it goes in the U.S. market. We've been selling L's in the U.S. market as well for more than Japan, but it's kind of limited, and our customer has a bit of inventory right now. It's not in our hands. He's got it. The problem with Japan right now is that all sizes sell pretty much the same price.
We got about $10,000.
10,000?
Yeah.
What are they gonna eat?
They're gonna eat good. They're gonna eat anything they want. We got it all.
My name is Toby Findors, and I'm the mate on the Legacy. I originally came from Iceland over to America in 1986, and I've been here ever since and working on fishing boats in Alaska. Pretty soon we'll be heading up to the Bering Sea. We're going to be fishing for rock sole, flathead sole, whatever is available to us for as long as we can.
The 9th of January 2007, and both the Alliance and the Legacy are getting ready to sail for Alaska tonight. They're doing their fire drills, Coast Guard final Coast Guard inspections, and fueling up, and they're heading up for the year to fish up in the Bering Sea all January through probably till September, October. And we wish all the crew a good, safe voyage, and hopefully we'll make some money at the same time. The Alliance is 107 feet. We've owned it since 1982, and it's been a pretty good vessel. We've had some hard years in the beginning, but we finally turned the boat around in around 1990, and it's done well ever since. It's one of the only small factory trawlers that has actually made its name and made a way for itself. Just wish the guys a lot of luck this year and a safe voyage. We're doing a safety drill on the boat with the Coast Guard on board, and we've got all the crew manning their stations and being prepared in case of emergency at sea, in case of fire, and all the guys will go to their stations and and be ready for whatever comes. This is a safety drill we do on all the vessels, and it's now required. It's a good procedure for everybody. It keeps everybody tuned up. We'll probably also do some safety drills when we get to Alaska and when we get a crew change. It's just good to keep the guys sharp and on their feet. We also last night had CPR training and medical training as well, and it's just a good policy for any boat owner or fisherman on board to know that, because it's a pretty dangerous business, as people are well aware of. It's real important. Safety's number one. You got to be safe before we can make any money.
It's a really intense fisheries because it's so long and grueling, and these guys work, up to 18 hours straight, 60, 65 days if we have really fast fisheries. And I think this is the only fisheries that I know of where they'll work those long hours in that factory and chop fish for 16 to 18 hours a day. I mean, crabbing is a dangerous fisheries for sure, but this fisheries is not only dangerous, it's long.
Gear pile, as you can see this year, it consists of this approximately 10 by 20 foot section right now. Before, last year, it covered from about a 20 by 30, 25 by 20 space. So we've condensed down a lot what we're storing up here in Dutch Harbor. Right now we have 3 cod ends stacked here, 4 shots of combi wire, 10 shots of mud gear, a Fiska 2 net, 2 Alaskan Eagle nets, and I believe I said 10 shots of mud gear. 40,000 bags about left right now, which is enough for both boats for just about possibly 2 trips for both boats. So that should be enough fiber to carry us through till trip 3, and the plastic should be enough. Almost, we should have enough plastic here to carry us through the end of the year. When you're down in the factory, be very careful. There's a lot of sharp objects down there you can cut yourself on. When walking by the machines, be careful. Don't run in the factory. That's usually when people get hurt, is when they're in a little bit too big of a hurry. So let's just, we're all going to everybody knows where they're working at. Just, get there safely. When you carry your knives around, be careful. The weather, it gets rough. Stuff goes rolling around. You don't want to cut yourself.
Hatch always secured. Slide lock always over and down. That locks everything in, and that way no fish can push this hatch open. Okay. Life tank grams, doors always closed. All water off. Never use water until we tell you to use water. Danger, keep hands, fingers loose, clothing, etc. away from rotating blades, which are right in here, which is almost impossible to get pulled in. And if you do, this is an emergency shut off, right? You get pulled in, this will automatically shut the machine off. It's emergency stop. We had one guy that was standing here. We needed one fish to finish the pan, and another one of the processors went in the back and found that fish. And he comes up and he walks in and he shoves the fish in the machine like that. Got his fingers. We had to take him in. That's one thing you do if you're a machine operator. You don't let nobody put their hands in the machines. We got this guard out that way. Nobody rolls into it. If they roll into it when the boat's rolling, they're not going to get their hands caught. Iodine, ham dip tank. When you guys leave the factory and you enter the factory, always use the brush, scrub your gear down and your gloves off. This basically goes along with the same thing. This overboard hatch must be shut every time to keep water, just in case something happens. If the power goes down and this thing's open, you can't keep any water from coming in. The water will all come in this way, especially if we're leaning on the port side.
Some people might not know, but one of the upgrades we did this last season, we reinstalled a new CO2 fire system in the engine room. Only 4 people will be able to activate it. That'll be myself, the assistant engineer, the captain, or the mate. it won't be activated until the bridge is notified that we've exhausted all of the sources. You know, so if there is an engine room fire, everybody needs to go to their stations like usual. There's a siren going off back out there in the engine room area. 25 seconds to get out of there. Okay, we're going to displace all the oxygen, so everybody needs to evacuate the area. Everything's got to be sealed up nice and tight. There's a lot of new Coast Guard regulations. It's an alternative safety compliance that we have to meet, as the head and gut fleet and the long line fleet are doing it. And it's because of the Arctic Roll sinking and the Galaxy fire. So we have a lot of different safety regulations now. Watertight doors, all the closures are part of it. So we had to make sure we close the doors. Take very, very good care of the doors. Don't let them swing around back and forth and break the dogs off. Our watertight integrity is very, very important, as well as being able to seal off the air if there's a fire. So these doors and these closures are very, very critical. And we're under, you know, the Coast Guard regulations now, and we have to do daily logs on this stuff, so it's all got to be maintained. So we appreciate all the help that we get, you know, respecting all these doors, these closures, making a safe boat.
Yeah, then they're getting ready into their suits and should be within a minute or so.
If an alarm goes off, don't get up, put your boots on and everything else and grab stuff. Just get out.
Lower that fender. So which one's the better boat? This one, by far.
I got $100 on it right now. We offload for you. Take me up on it.
Hey, Kim. How's it going?
Take me up.
I'll take you up. Sure. Which boat you working on?
$100.
Ours. Sorry. That's our pipe.
Whoever ties up to the tramper first.
Whoever ties up to the tramper first.
All right.
You're going by last year. We packed.
There you go. $100.
Okay.
That's your film. For the film? All right. Oh, say it? $100 we offload before you guys do. 8 days or less, baby.
We're gonna be back in 7, Sean.
I'm Sean Russell. I work on the Alliance, which we're standing on the bridge, and I am the first mate. And up here is where we do all of our fishing, using our various electronical equipment to locate the fish, keep track of our nets, door spreads, and radar equipment for safety. This is where the captain spends 16 hours a day, and this is where the mate spends the other 8. Here we're coming into our galley where everybody comes in for a chow. As you can see, it's tight quarters that it squeeze through.
What's it like working with these guys, Tiffany?
Oh, it's really nice. They're a great crew.
This is the bow, our cold storage where we keep our groceries. And our engine room is typically not this dirty, but right now that we just got to town, we're back loading. So we're taking down all of our oil filters, diapers, cleaning supplies, spare oil, hydraulic fluid, different sorts. So it looks like a cluster right now. But I promise you, it's not like this when we're out at sea. This is our main engine here. This is what runs the boat, propels the boat. And then you have the starboard generator over there, and then the port generator over here. Both these supply electricity to run all the electronics in the wheelhouse and generate all the electricity for the whole boat. So this is what we depend on for our livelihood. Fish will come into the factory through here, and it comes up this ladder, drops onto this white sorting belt, and we'll sort them by the bin. And they'll also grab fish off the belt and cut it as it goes by as well. They'll gut them, drop the guts in these little gut chutes, and then throw them up into the packing station by species, by weight and size. Right here's our freezing plates. Stick the case in the bag, and then our freezer hole, which is down this little chute. We'd stick the case in there and drop it straight down.
Hi, I'm Mike Gentry. I'm with the Department of Environmental Conservation, Food Safety and Sanitation, and we come aboard at least once a year to inspect the vessel for its food processing capabilities, to assure that the vessel is turning out a safe and wholesome product. And we look at the water systems, sewage systems, processing equipment, and follow the product flow from the net to the box, essentially.
Pollock come in and hit the top of the net, come down the top of the net, and come out through this diamond-shaped panel and are left on bottom alive. Codfish come in and immediately dive to the bottom of the net, so when they come by this panel, they're at the bottom of the trawl, and they continue onward as the flatfish do into the cod end. And what that does, it just lets us have minimal amount of pollock.
So what is this that you're doing?
These areas, you know, everywhere we fish is area specific. So we have like starting down at the south end of Unimac Pass coming out, we have 519, then we go into 517, then we go into 509, then 516, and then there's areas within the sub areas within the prime area, which is like in 516 we have a red king crab savings area. And then we have a salmon saving area, then there's a herring savings area. And so as you sign in and out of these different areas, you have to send a report to NIMS to where you are. Even though they have you on a VMS, a vessel monitoring system, you still have to send these check-in, check-out processor sheets so that they can, in addition to what we're doing, where we are, location-wise, they want to know what we're catching for fish. So 123 is the code for rock sole, and 110 is the code for codfish. You know, and all these are different codes for all the different fish that we target. You can see where I catch a processor or a non-pelagic trawl. Original report, you have to put in your permit number, catch ComSat number, fax number, phone number, ADF and G number. You have to sign it, date it, put the hours down, position. Pretty well got it covered. And then if there's any issues with it and they can't get a hold of us, we have like a representative down south is Teresa. And that's about it. Pretty much keeps the thumb right on us. 24/7, 365. Thank you, Uncle Sam. looks like 20 tons of hopefully rock sole and codfish.
Down to 0.5 knots at 2 a.m. and then start ebbing and flowing.
Are you on tonight, Steve?
Blowing 60 outside. There's big waves, you saw them in the bridge footage. They're working on the deck and they're working out here. They're on their knees making sure that they don't fall, and everybody, it doesn't even faze them.
Down to 0.5 knots at 2 a.m. and then start ebbing and flowing.
Sure, the boat okay? Coast Guard going for them? What's happening with those guys?
There's a couple boats here up there. We're gonna use that GPS.
They bag it upstairs, bag the product, then they send it down the chute. We stack it according to its destination, where we're gonna send it to be bought. Makes things easier during offload. Stack it up, try to keep it nice and tight, so if we hit rough weather, we don't have cases falling all over, jeopardizing the ballast of the boat.
It's quite something to look out there and see a wave the same height as you are.
If you want to hear a lot of four-letter words? Oh, I can't talk about it.
We thought we were going to have decent weather, and the new forecast is calling for 60 out of the southeast. And the course we were on was a poor course for letting the boat process, so we're coming up under the land, Cape Mordvinoff, so that we can be in the lee of the land and they can finish processing, and then we'll have a better angle for crossing Unimac Pass and going into Dutch Harbor. But the weather is going to be extreme, calling for 30-foot seas and 60-mile-an-hour winds, so 60-knot winds. It's going to be interesting, Dave. I can tell you that. A message from Teresa on what she wants me to do about that mackerel. But it's okay. It doesn't make any difference. So we have to call it tomorrow anyway.
My name's Jess, and I'm the observer on board, and I work indirectly for National Marine Fisheries. So my job is whenever a cod in comes on board, I go out and I measure it to find the volume, and then I go down in the factory and I take a sample of the unsorted catch and I weigh it and sort it to species, and then I record all that on a data sheet and I get all the logbook information and enter it into a computer program and send it off to NIMS, and they use that data to partially manage the fisheries and just kind of get an idea of what's going on the boats.
That's the shim that we used for a temporary fix to take up the slop between the inner race and the shaft itself. And it was ready to come out, so it's a good thing we're doing this. Yeah, what you're looking at here is about 10,500 cases of product in our freezer hold. And it's tier stacked. Instead of going straight up, you tier stack it, angled, so if you do get into the trough or rough seas, the load won't shift and affect the stability of the vessel. So they're doing a pretty good job keeping it nice and tight down here.
When we finished with the live tank, it seemed like we might have a moment to catch our breath. In a place as extreme as this, though, we should have known better. That evening, a fire broke out on another fishing boat in the area. The Legacy rushed 10 miles to the north, along with dozens of other vessels and the U.S. Coast Guard.
Get all our fire equipment by the door on the port side.
Captain Bill sent over a pump, oxygen tanks, and the other equipment to fight the fire. The crew of the other boat had to abandon ship, and everyone made it off safely. But it was another reminder that fishing in Alaska is dirty and very dangerous.